Yep, that's all you.
Is there anybody else? What about there's nobody else on there though?
Yeah, we don't have any other
So when
visitors.
you guys get on, out in the area,
Yeah.
you'll show up on the street.
Okay, all right, guys.
Along with the street party. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you gotta move it really close, otherwise it's really hard to hear.
Yeah, you have to speak up the whole time too, otherwise before they can see you.
It's-
We're gonna do it, before with the difference. You know, we're talking about that.
Yes.
No, that's not. The smart board is down.
Okay, meeting call to order time.
5:31.
Roll call, Chelsea here. Thomas. Bianca. Here. Ridley.
Here.
Victoria. Here. And the prayer and song, because we're Nick here, we're gonna help lead.
Welcome to board members. Say a few words. Give you a song. The song translates to we always lift each other up. And we always do good to each other. It's a song that we're gonna show the kids. Got a chance to sing it, but they do know the other one. We go hard here at the churches. You ever hear you singing that home at home? You need to stop the way. That's the stuff. All right. Ako daw, kasi makibiminig taga gigit naman. Yegetsugo ni shishinima. Yegetsugo apite dagosa. Yigani siwadima. Kana patawadima. Yegetsugo ga tamano hunda dagowidu kawa andoa na nishnade yimata nakonige mani lakea instasa church. Yama itashin toiting. Shukate. Yegetsugo ni shishinima akina nishnade. Usum kwendan iwean. Nigo akina anishnade sichige wana na anishnade shikwa na sabo. Yegetsugo ni shishinima. Me with the way with two and one no. Daga we do kwa we go kana ichia yawa happen jet away set. We go get a pitan dagosima ya shaman do. We show Sanana Komisanana game. We go kana nangu ma stemming fishing was good na neo and dynama. We okay a wabanum. We go akana money to kind of the water way here. I'm going to another shot and go nice here. Fishmin was going away to my shower. We go out to the money to kind of the water way came out. But the purpose of the water, you know, man. Yeah, shower. Fishmin was going away to your morning, you know. We go out to the money to kind of the water way to my kind, the Yawa, the month. The papas in the world, what isn't the work now? And you should have it. We know what's going with the market, you know. We go get we go. We go get Mr. Wake to make you way. If we know what's going on, we come. Mr. Wake to make it. What nice I believe. What she's I. We go to the money to come. We come ship the shoe. We go to we go to the money to the right the Yawa. We go cash me wants to go away the amount of coming. West Yard, the Sabe, and we Westward. We go out to so kind of guy in the Yawan man of coming. Going in the market and here. We go get the garden of the you just really cheap in that which get one. Because you go on Shishin, you got to such a game on the Endazhi-Nitaawiging know the what's the geek no ma up in each other man. Ah, man, go chewing the shot. In Bubbles and the Bab. Ah, we will not any. It's been on again. It's been one against Swear, and we got way too money to the breakfast. Like, ah, you away with 2 young enough, you will not play.
Okay, number 4, mission and the vision. Mission, the mission is to prepare youth students for college and enhance knowledge of the Ojibwe language, culture, leadership, and environmental stewardship. Vision, at Endazhi-Nitaawiging, the vision is to create confident leaders grounded in their true inherent identity and to ensure that they are academically, socially, and spiritually prepared to positively change the community and the world. 5, agenda approval. A motion to approve the agenda for the special school board meeting. Sorry. Yeah. Should be July 1st, I'm sorry, 2025. As presented. A motion. Second. Any discussion? How don't you arrive at 5:30?
Yeah, I just put 2 minutes. Half start.
At 5:32. Discussion on the agenda. The APEC community tax meeting that we have for our title time. The APEC, the letter concerns that they are doing that we are provided adequate education on the state.
And this is the document that you did.
Okay. We'll find it at that. Well, whoever is the chair, or whoever.
No, who's the APAC committee there?
Not in the tablets?
It's a blank one. The APAC chairperson did that.
Oh, so that has the original. Yeah, that will get it through. It is,
So we all sign one copy of them. Or no,
whoever
just
the chair will. All in favor, say aye. Yes,
aye.
Do I run through the votes singularly?
And the post.
Any opposed?
I wasn't on TV for that.
Okay. Public comment. Welcome to this meeting of the school board here at Endazhi-Nitaawiging. We are extremely pleased that you have shown an interest in our school affairs by attending this meeting. The school board allows public participation at this meeting, but at the same time has the responsibility for conducting its business in an orderly fashion. We will provide the audience with an opportunity to request to speak. We request that before you speak to announce your name. Each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes unless the time limit is waived by a majority of the board members present. At a public meeting of the board, no person shall orally initiate charges or complaints against individual employees of the district or challenge instructional materials used in the district. All such charges, if presented to the board directly, shall be referred to the executive director of Endazhi-Nitaawiging for investigation and report. We would also like to remind the public that the school board is not allowed to comment on your concerns. If there are no questions, we will open the public comment section of the board. How long will we wait?
Any public comment? Those online, any public comment?
Can you hear?
Number 7, new business. Welcome and seat new board members, oath of office. Selection of board officers.
First of all, in your packet is an oath. I want the board to know that it's not required. It's more ceremonial, and we will keep it in your individual board packet if you sign it. So, I guess maybe read aloud, out loud. I swear affirm that I will support the Constitution of this state and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 4398-70 to the best of my judgment and ability. So thank you so much, and congratulations. Welcome to the board. We're so delighted to have you. We just really want to welcome you. I know we're so delighted. Maybe before you go, maybe you can just kind of sign it. We'll just go. It's not required, but it's kind of similar.
Board. Motion to open the nomination for the school board chairperson. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
You can read what the board says. Open for discussion.
Inside your packet, I put a copy of the bylaw. And I also emailed them to everybody, so if you want to know all the duties and responsibilities, it's in your bylaws for each position.
Chair in the middle.
Article 6.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
About that. So section 3 shall be the principal officer of the school subject to the direction and control of the board. The chair shall see that the resolutions and directives of the board are carried into effect, and in general shall discharge all duties of the office of the chair as prescribed by the board. The chair shall present at all meetings of the board, chair with the collaboration, the executive director, execute for all school, all contract fees and raises, other instances that may be required or authorized by the board. The chair shall appoint members to committees, establish and members and other fees. The appointment of committees to be on the next.
So the chairperson couldn't be one of the board members.
Yeah, the only stipulation in bylaws is that the chair cannot be a paid employee. So Leslie shall be. Down
Or
to three.
I nominate Bianca. Those are.
I believe that, I thought I wrote that, I thought I was present there. So, nominations have been done. I'll nominate Vicky. Vicky? And nominate me. Vicky, yeah. Yeah, you can nominate, and then like if there is a tie, we'll probably just go for a vote. And, like say, for example, not printing another material, I don't accept, or you do accept the position. It's kind of open. You can offer them. I'm gonna get. So, the other person nominated is the second. I think is all in favor of the team.
You do, so now I'll vote as I did for.
So,
when you
okay.
start.
So
Maybe
you,
most
so
of
you're gonna need, so you think. So like the last thing, so you'll need to vote on them, so. Okay. Would you, the chair,
Vicky Finding for chair, all those.
right, okay, that, the process, now am I done? Okay, okay. New business B, motion to open the nominations for the school board vice president. Or vice chair.
All motion. Second.
In the closed nomination. So in the discussion, this was that the vice chair, the duty of the vice chair, both in absence of disability of the chair, and to such duties as to be defined. To open discussion for section 5, vice chair, whether the duty of the vice chair of absence or disability of the chair and to perform such duties as may be assigned by the chair. Any discussion? Nominate Chelsea. But if you decline for the chair, then would it be the vote to nominate You can also open it. Either way. Yeah, I think they're gonna win. Yeah. Oh, Chelsea just started. It's Leslie's nominated. Oh, okay. Mhm. Would Morgan accept the position? So we can go to vote. So if you like. No, so so if you've got two, so all those in favor of the phone? Raise your hand. Please sign somehow. As long as, okay, there you go. So do they accept it first or do they accept it after? Well, because there's two, they have to be with the voters and then.
It's like accepting the nomination next. Because technically they tied on nominations, because they both got one. So like we're being nominated, but now we have to accept that nomination if we would be moved.
And both of you have to know each other.
I guarantee you I do not know that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
And that helps too, that you feel.
Yeah, because you voted with the accept. Chelsea voted with the accept.
Yeah.
And so all those in favor, Bianca, for votes too? How about Chelsea? Okay, I think we can finish the motion with Bianca for votes.
So any discussion, we did the vote, we did, nominate for Chelsea, Bianca to be vice chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any decline?
Yeah, I can't hear you guys.
Bianca for vice chair.
Is something blocking the microphone?
Where is the microphone?
I don't think so. No. Do you want to get closer? Or will speak up? I don't know if I can get any closer. How about we'll speak up? Yeah. Just call it. Yeah. But you want to. So. I'm sorry, right?
So motion passed for, acceptance for Bianca for vice chair. My voice is not loud enough. Can you hear me? Well, unmute yourself, then you'll be able to hear. Oh,
That mute is for him.
we can't hear you.
See, we can't hear us.
Yeah, you spoke for like a minute.
Alright. Oh, and
So new business C, motion to open nomination for the secretary board or for the school board secretary.
I'll make a motion.
I'm sorry, who wants to do it?
Okay.
Chelsea?
And I will second.
And Leslie?
Any discussion? Any nomination?
The secretary of the board shall be responsible for keeping the board's records and, like going forward, whoever's the secretary will keep the minutes. And, the secretary shall keep records, keep up the minutes of all meetings of the board. Secretary shall give her cause to be given all notices of the meeting of the board. The secretary shall be responsible for keeping all documents, books, correspondence, board meetings, papers related to the business of Endazhi, except for those of the treasurer. How we've been doing it here is, Naomi at the previous board was the secretary in charge of the minutes, and then she became interim, and she still continued to keep them in. And then, but it would be good if the secretary, whoever gets the secretary, could keep the minute, and then maybe just like type up the minute, and I can give sample. Yeah. But anything that's in the packet, we help create the packet, we do the printing and that, so we will always have a copy. All we'll need really is a copy of the 5 minutes, and then those go into a binder that will keep, for public view anytime, and they'll also go on our website. The minutes will go on there, not all the attachments, but the minutes and the recording will go on. But we'll always keep a hard copy of all the attachments that will. So that the secretary then will just be responsible for, you'll get the agenda, just keep the minutes, type up the minutes and get it to the school and go. Or they're welcome to keep records too.
I'll make a nomination for Chelsea.
And I'm at Leslie. I cannot accept, right? I don't want.
No, you cannot, with,
Secretary, we can.
secretary, you can, treasurer, you can. Secretary, you can.
I'll also nominate.
Are you here to take a look next?
If we have
Any
any nominations, we have 2 nominations.
We have the nomination for Chelsea.
I didn't.
You declined?
Yeah. Decline that nomination. And Chelsea nominated with Leslie. He also declined.
That's for vice chair.
No,
There's no
secretary.
Why? Well, I'm like, by default, but why am I being defaulted to?
Well, you're not nominated.
Okay.
We're the school, we don't get that, we get that responsibility. You really should have the secretary help. The only thing that the secretary really has to do is just keep the minutes. And then, will the school will take care of everything else, we'll keep the documents, we'll do the recording. The only thing that the secretary really has to do is just keep, just who did what, just motion carries like that. It's usually just that.
My God, everybody's been great secretary.
Naomi's been doing it. Cause she told me that she wanted to meet up and do it and like talk about my duties and help me do the duties and she never did.
Like solid.
So
But I will
she's
help,
been
but
doing
I
a lot
will,
of duties.
but I will help you.
Man.
That's the first step, so you feel more comfortable, you've been in the position for a little while, you can ease more into it, more guidance, and then the more sturdy you'll be in the school board setting.
Yeah, I'm just like thinking in consideration too, because when school starts up, I don't know how much time I'll have. School is actually in session.
Is there an app where it kind of sends to lectures and then combines them?
Well, if we have our
Well,
meetings
it'll
in
plug
here,
in.
then we can probably.
And she'd be able to have a computer out in front of her, right?
Sure.
During the meeting, and then like type it in notes as it's happening,
I know.
right?
See?
Look at us helping you.
Computer?
Only if I can get a format that I can, because
Sure.
I do not want to subscribe to Microsoft Word to work on a Google Doc. Which is something I could very well do for free. I guess I'll accept it.
Well, did you work on that?
Just as long as I don't have to pay for the Microsoft.
No.
I like the subscriptions. No, thank you.
I believe in you, Leslie.
You got faith in me.
Okay, thank you.
So Leslie decided to accept the nomination for the school board secretary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. So new business D, motion to open nominations for the school board treasurer. The treasurer shall prepare cause to be prepared to propose annual budget for Endazhi-Nitaawiging and shall keep and cause to be kept financial records belonging to EN Endazhi and make those records available to any director upon request. The treasurer will present to the board at EN's annual meeting a report of finances of EN and will prepare or cause to be prepared the other reports for the board in review as may be required for the board to execute its duties. Holy
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sophie,
I will second.
second by Leslie. Discussion.
So I want to talk to you about the treasurer and what this means there. And it says, the treasurer may delegate tasks relevant to financial management and budgeting to a qualified entity by board resolution. The previous board delegated our financial responsibility to school management services. School management services oversees all our financial, they do all the education codes. They are probably next to Tom Melcher at the State Department. They're probably the most knowledgeable about school finance. And you know, school finance is just a beast, you know. So we have under contract is school management services that oversees all those finance. So the treasurer does not have to keep those. And all they have to do is if somebody wants a report, they request from us, because we've already have an entity that's doing just request a record and then every meeting, every regular meeting, the treasurer has already requested this entity to report. And every meeting, school management services comes from me and they review our monthly report. And so that we've already generated those reports from them, they do it. And then every meeting you have to, after they give the report, we have to approve payment bills. And there's a couple other things annually that we have to do. We have to approve the budget. Last week, the board did approve the budget for the new year, so that's next major one will be if we revise the budget, so that'll probably be in January, where we'll have actual numbers, how many students we have, what our actual budget is, we'll be revising that'll have to be approved, and then at the end of the school year, we'll close out. We'll have a final budget, close out to see where we're at, and then we go into a new budget. But other than that, the school management service is our financial entity that the under contract that we've already approved, and they create all the reports. If anybody, the thing about school finance is that it's public. Anybody can have access to our financial records at any time. They're public. And if you want to see how much money Chelsea makes, it's public. You want to see how much I make, it's public. Anything at all. So any financial records is public information. So anybody can request a record of anything that they want. And our finances are actually on MDB website, and I can tell anybody where to go to look at those. And but we will get a monthly report to the board to approve. So there's really not a lot that the treasurer needs to do, except if somebody in particular wants a certain report. So we have already delegated all of this to Susan and Kentucky. How much is that? I'm not sure what our contract is. We have an annual contract with them, and what they have, under the contract, what they provide for us is they manage all of our budgets. They show us every month what our budget is. They do payment of bills. They do revenues, expenditures. They track all of that. They do our payroll. They do all of those things, but I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I can get that information for you, what we contract them for. So we can do.
And where's the school management services located out of?
They are out of St. Paul, they're major businesses out of St. Paul, and we are assigned a business manager and we are assigned a payroll clerk out of there. And we can access them, you can call them anytime, we get any information that you want. We just did, budget review to end up our year and to approve the new budget. And so if we have online meetings, at our regular meetings, they're always online for questions. We always get a 4 or 5 page report, and I'll show you exactly what we spent, where we spent it, what our revenue is, and like that. So I'll tell you right there, probably one of the best school finances that we've seen. I think, well, I probably should, I think there are schools, but anyway, they're really good. They're really good. So there's really not a lot for the treasurer to do.
Opening the floor for nominations for school board treasurer.
So what do we do if, there's only one potential bidder?
Yeah. Well, I think we're hoping that they'll accept that, and they get nominated and have their reelection. I don't know if another person could be dual duties, you know? Could you do secretary / treasurer? Could you do that? Or could you do chair / treasurer? Or something like that, because the way that the school has it set up is not responsibility for treasurer. So I'm wondering, and I guess I don't actually know that if the same person would be the if we share and treasurer. A lot of schools will do that if they're small boards like that have charge things. Yeah, secretary treasurer.
So
So between you,
Leslie's an employee, don't feel.
Yeah, so she
I will
won't
not be
control-
treasurer.
Chelsea can't be upset.
So it's vice chair,
Yep, so either you three, one of you three.
housing financial. Yeah. mine is-
Well, just throw out
I'm just gonna
nominations.
throw that right out there now. That's public information. I'm just. I don't feel comfortable with. But if I have to, then I guess I do.
It really is easy peasy.
Yeah, I think once you start looking at the reports and getting used to how to read them, it's easier. And I think that later on in the agenda, we're gonna choose our times, right? But like, I think I really like what you said about having the working session before the actual meeting. So starting at 5 and then getting the meeting at 5:30, but that 5 o'clock to 5:30, eating and looking at the agenda and looking at each food, it's like we're gonna be looking at this. You know, so when we're all together in that work time, any questions?
So opening the motion to move the treasurer's last year.
Yeah, okay. It's, maybe even 4,500. Per class.
We motioned already, I think that's just the vote.
Well, as long as you have, is it going to be checked? Can I have all these agendas and a writing on all of them? Okay. So is it chair session? Okay.
Good people. Any discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor?
We'll help you. Like, what
Yeah.
Sarah can do, you know, it's like to help you separate when you don't try to do it on.
Okay, okay. New business E, motion to set regular board meeting dates for the
And then we discussed that.
right day of the month Um,
Day of the month.
yeah, so day and a month and time for our regular board meeting.
I make a motion,
I'll second.
so then it's open.
Open for discussion.
So where the previous board held their meetings, their regular meetings every Tuesday at 5:30. This board can keep that time, this board can, whatever works for all of you, together. You know, the other thing is they did the third week of the month, and that was because previously when the school management services took over our finance, they needed a little more time each month to get everything in details. I had a conversation with them today, early in the month is fine, as a matter of fact, they actually prefer if you did like, not that third Tuesday, because they have another school that they manage, their board meeting a little bit later. So they're open to any other time. You can go earlier in the month, first week, second week, whatever day works for everybody else, and whatever time.
Well, I
As
want,
long as it's not during school hours.
right, right, and I was just gonna mention that I want to take consideration for the teachers and for the people that, because on Tuesdays for me, they're pretty swamped. And so, I'll stand back from the meeting.
Mondays and Tuesdays, I think.
I think
Wednesday.
so,
Then it evens out the rest of you.
Are you thinking that each week, first week, second week? Maybe.
you said somebody would prefer if it was really.
Originally, the school management services preferred it to be a little later in the month as they were still working. There's like a whole history that the school first started with an audit, and audit teams can't use school finance. So they brought on school management services, and it took them about a year to get all of our finances and basic votes and everything for that. So it helped them to have the meeting a little later to get ready, but they're finding also whatever first week, second week, either.
So should we do the third week of the month? The third Wednesday.
I think third Wednesday.
The third Wednesday of the month.
And then a time.
And I know timelines, for sometimes for teachers to have to stay late until 5:30. Maybe get home to their families and even, depending on how you want to do it too, so. Teachers, it's easy to stay right after, yeah.
I know for me, it's not that hard because I live right on Friday. Yeah, but hopefully she said for me to walk for.
But then I would also, I would also
Single
think
parents are
about,
often home alone. Well, you know, sitting here for a day and
so, but I would also think about the next item on the agenda, like if you wanted to do the working for fire, so.
Well, yeah, I would consider it happening.
what works for you? Well, I mean, do you guys all work up here, residents? No, you work in the meeting? I work in the meeting. You work in the meeting, so. You would need travel time too. When are you typically done in a day? 4:30. So 5:30 is a doable time for you, or even later?
I mean, I guess if I know in advance, then I can wait. Because I live in Florida. Oh, okay.
Definitely.
And then 5 o'clock for the working session.
So 5 p.m. working session, 5:30.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, yeah. Working
Okay.
session. Okay.
Oh.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. So third Wednesday of the month at 5 p.m. 5:30. 5:30. Any discussion, any Further? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Third Wednesday of the month at 5:30 p.m. Regular board meeting. So. New business act motion to set the work board sessions for. Gonna be the third Wednesday again.
First, we have the motion to open it first.
Oh. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Any discussion?
So I just wanted to, tell everybody a little bit, the idea that behind it, what the previous board did as on their agendas, they had open discussion, and that was usually at the end, it was open discussion, but what happened with the open discussion is that sometimes it just maybe went really long and off on different tangents kind of stuff and not going on the agenda. So working boards are really special meetings, so we would post it as a special meeting, and it's open to the public. But, and then we would just post those items that are urgent. And so those are the things that we would talk about at the working session. I mentioned earlier, I think, to somebody when I was in Gaslight, what they did is they had the working board the week prior. And then they would have the agenda, and then they would, be working board the week prior, and they would go over their agenda, ask the questions, you know, look at the paperwork and all that. And then they would go into the regular meeting and be ready to vote. So then they just get to the regular meeting and they just get down to business. The problem with that for some of the board and essay first, they're really tight for 2 meetings. You know, and then so what they did is they said, well, we'll do it prior. We'll just meet prior, see if there's any questions, you know, get the agenda out to us, we'll look at it, we'll meet, we'll see if there's any questions we have. And so what we thought, maybe if you wanted to do that, instead of having to do whatever, or the other thing that you could do is if you don't even have to have a working session, if you get the agenda and you see something on it, you can always just call the, you know, the administration and ask a question on it if you have questions ahead of time. So you don't even necessarily have to have a working session. But one of the things that our advisor or our authorizer talked about, and this really made sense to me, is that it's kind of important for a board to sit and have discussions together. It's kind of like a tribal way that we counsel together, you know, about those things. And so we don't necessarily have to have a working session, but kind of our authorizer was saying, you know, open discussion among the board might be a good thing. It's kind of a cultural way, it's kind of a tribal way that counsel together, you know, as leaders. And like that, you don't actually make decisions out of anything, and you would do that at that, but you would have time to. So we thought if you wanted to have it prior to the regular, we would always provide like a small meal for the separate time and come in and have it eat together and, you know, maybe you say a prayer and things like that and discuss whatever, kind of just keep it real kind of a cultural thing to it. So that was an idea that we had.
Yeah, I think really you run more efficiently. Sometimes it was like, when you get the agenda, you look it over, you feel it, know what's in it before the meeting, you know, so when you have that time, like you said, all the questions, you know, working together, I just think it's on more efficient. Being sure the time, you have time.
When you get to your board meeting, you just.
Yeah, because then we get to the board meeting.
Like, for example, today I got the agenda like an hour before the meeting and I was on the road. So I didn't even get to look at the agenda for like basically stop. So,
Didn't I send it out alone?
maybe you did, but I'm so
Right,
back in emails too. So I was trying to keep up on them too.
My intent was to get it to everybody this morning. We had a busy day, so.
Yeah.
So the working board session hasn't been done, is to continue.
So what they've done, what the previous board has done is they have had working sessions, but working sessions, if they call the working session, but working sessions are really specials. And then when you post for a special, you have to do 3 days in advance, and you have to plan on exactly what your topics are going to be. And that is special, like this is a special, these are only the things we can talk about. things that are difficult to, that are on the agenda. And so they have called, and your working session or your specials are really called for those things, that, that you couldn't do at your regular, or maybe something comes up, that would be an emergency, that kind of stuff. So you've got 3 meetings, you've got a regular meeting, you've got a special meeting, and you have your emergency meeting. It hasn't been done before. They've done working before. They've done working before, but they didn't take action, they just talked about the items that were gonna be on the agenda. And then they took action. But it is a special, so you could take action. It just helps to discuss it and then to go into the. But they have had.
Like that. So Oshki Ogdenbach is a school in Brantford. They do the same. They are authorizing controls. They kind of have that little bite, talk about. So everybody's on the same page. So when it comes time that they whatever, got some clarity. Like say, like she didn't have time to look at it. You got something you can get her up to speed, or you don't just have a meeting.
And other people have a question.
Yep. Yeah, what is this gonna be? Makes them a little easier.
And to also come together as a unit.
But then during the regular meeting, there's community members.
The community members can only speak in public comment, and then, the board doesn't respond. If there's questions in public comment, the board does not respond. They get 5 minutes to speak. They cannot speak negatively about person who those things, but we want to hear concerns if they have some, or good things if they have. And if there's something, then that goes, we give that, the board will give that to administration to do the investigation or whatever, and then they can report that.
But then the working session.
Working session is, it's just like a special.
I'm just confused, because I wasn't sure if there'd be a missing context if we're discussing it first.
So it's still open, and there still would be, like, this is a special, and but like it would still, then we would post it, like if you went to working before, we call it like a working board and then regular board. And they would be posted together 3 days in advance. So you don't necessarily have to post for a regular, because that's going to be posted on our website as that's we meet every Wednesday at 5:30. But I would still post for a working session 3 days in advance. So everybody knows, public has notice. Open meeting law. I tell you, I have been in it. Okay.
I think you guys.
Yeah.
It's all very.
Yeah, we'll see what okay. So motion to set. Motion to set the work board meeting session for the 3rd Wednesday day of the month at 5 p.m. Motion by Chelsea, second by Vicky. Already had discussion, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Item G, motion to approve the AIPC letter of concurrence. That's American Indian Parent Committee letter of concurrence.
Yeah, and I don't think we included the letter, it's not in there, but we have this signature. And what is this saying?
We're not in discussion yet.
Oh, sorry.
We have to motion.
You do, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
So Chelsea motion,
A second.
Leslie second.
Okay, now.
Open for discussion on the APEC letter of concurrence.
So you're on the OPEC, and we help with the letter of concurrence that you're in agreement that the school offers. What's the word? That they're, yeah, remain compliant with Minnesota statutes 124-78, that we are in compliance with all the education things that we need to do, that we're providing all the education stuff that is given. So the APEC will have a meeting and they'll do a letter to the parents and they'll send it to the board and the board will approve that letter. I don't have the actual letter that really.
Like that was the living, and it was supposed to be the presenter. Here's a year.
And one of the reasons that we added it as the action item here is because we have to get it done. So if you are aware of what was in that letter, you're looking to discuss it. If there was non-concurrence, if the APEC says we don't believe that the school is offering adequate education to our native students, then there would be non-concurrence and result of things that it included. But my understanding is that the APEC says, yeah, we are, the school is offering all that they need, but on the statute 124, which is the education component. I don't have the actual letter. If you want to table it, you can table it till the next meeting if we get that letter for you, although we will be contacting.
Because, when we originally voted on it. It was due in June. So it was supposed to go to that next.
Yeah, some of the business did not get done at the last couple of school board meetings, especially June. So, yeah, and so we're behind on it. We're July 1st, so we put it on this as an action item. So, I think if you trust Bianca as part of that committee, you say yes, we voted, we can, if you trust her before that.
Hey, I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it up to you if you want to table it or if you feel like.
The American Impact Committee did confirm that the school is providing medical education to them. That's pretty much what it is.
So who has the letter?
Dan.
Dan
has the letter.
You know what, was the letter in the other packets I have?
You did not send the big packet, you just sent the agenda.
I don't have.
In our past meetings that didn't get done.
Oh,
Can I just,
recession.
can we just recess for?
Recess for 5 minutes?
Yeah, an official recession at 6:30. Let me put a note on.
That sounds is good. I keep chicken.
No, we can probably do.
I was just in the moment.
Oh, in the moment.
You guys are flowing, like, just,
Oh, yeah, it was on May 28th.
Yeah.
Behind us.
so.
We look like we're glowing on there too, like it's just.
You know that? Like that's how they construct
That's
small churches, so that when the priest is giving a sermon.
The light
kind of
comes
behind
in.
them.
Yeah.
I just know.
That one's fun.
Yeah. Even coffee, yeah. I was like, even this.
I lost it.
Okay. At first I was wondering why staff are getting in trouble here, like, staff at a board meeting. No. But then I realized the motion.
There's a lot of art.
There was, I'm in a group chat right now with Githagon and Telly right now. Allie is like ready to, she's ready to start with
Where's the
that
memo?
one. It's right here.
Everybody's going to think about that.
Yeah.
Is Tally coming back?
Huh?
Is Tally coming back?
I hope so. Which one we had two talents?
Oh,
We had,
Mackenzie Cow.
Kinsey.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
oh,
Cow.
okay.
Yeah.
Tally
Which one are you
Large,
talking about?
Tally Large.
Oh,
Yeah, we're talking about two different
is
cows.
she coming back?
Parish Tally or specialist cow?
No, that.
Oh,
All right.
This is to I want the kids. That I know
Mark.
not about me too.
Mark must be doing okay.
We're good.
It's, well, this is what I sent him earlier today. I said, hey, brother, we are thinking of you. I'm gonna smoke my pipe for you, praying for you and your family, wishing, and hoping everything goes well with your surgery. And he just started that 2 minutes ago. So I said, wow,
So we have to go to open heart.
yeah, I think double bypass. Big crack here still.
Yeah, but you want to take a recovery.
Oh my God, when my husband, 18 months. 18 months, to 24 months. Chicken is the bomb.
Racist. I've been telling you.
Right?
Like, I just bring some to the beach. Yeah, we're going swimming after this. My mom's mom is passing away, so we came up to say goodbye today, and I got a board meeting, but then we functioning on that. I'm gonna go to the store and buy a beef and charcoal. Where?
Watching.
Yeah, Judith Lodgening.
So I turned the TV on to the game.
Bloody with the rice.
My mom, but not my grandma. She
Well,
was like,
he waits like, and he.
so my mom's mom, she came up today,
I saw that.
visit with her. With like,
Prisoner.
Well, you were, like, he,
we're getting sick.
he's calling.
She's been on the fair
So
for a
people
really long
come here
time now.
now.
At first they said it was comfy, but then my mom called, she's like, no,
They'll
I
fine. They come to their own phone.
don't want to go out there, but I don't want to go.
I was like,
They're meeting today.
That's so crazy.
Like, yeah, I want to visit food.
They said one more
Probably.
school teacher. And one
That's
16-year-old
what
kid,
Yeah, it is.
every day.
How is your mom?
you guys have been really good with people like a fellow. She's not that, like, everybody. You know, really big ones. I go to every year. Okay.
Not wrong, stay there.
Right. You can call. The only person I caught, and I went every day. At Powell, right in Powell.
Oh, yeah.
Polar under. Maybe. Did they know this same time? Does she still have one? All that. Yeah, 'cause I didn't see anybody the whole weekend. I seen two o'clock Sunday when I.
Some book. She read
Like the last day.
Gave it to Rod, and Rod was supposed to give it to me.
I just caught him barely.
And I
as
never
I
got
had
it.
in the store. And then it's like, oh, Katie's
I think
doing
so.
it. I gotta run.
Well, she wrote
Katie's
something
fine. She's not gonna let me go. We,
I know.
it's all throughout the school year. She
Oh,
goes,
kids.
yeah, because she sticks with me like we do. So,
Seemed great. Same for the chief.
Oh. yeah. Haley's funny, though. She always is like.
Oh, the meeting started off like,
Like, my boyfriend's up for 5 o'clock. She's gonna have to be there. It's like, I'm gonna go there.
There's supposed to be staffing.
The girls said
The
that.
email was sent out just today. I got.
Not that one.
Dan
but
did
they
send
think-
it, so
He goes,
as soon as I get working, I'm like, oh.
that's cool stuff. That's what.
Oh, you need to.
That, when Elisa graduated, that was the first time I heard it.
On Slack.
But
We
they
do
think.
communication.
Oh, yeah.
All day.
I was through to Jeff Davis saying,
I was just gonna say,
the
like,
radio didn't work. They were singing, they were singing.
we went to the beach for my niece's birthday. They were praying for the water, but they've enjoyed it.
Yeah, all those June agendas, but I don't have it on there. I'm looking for the documents for those June agendas and I'm not seeing it.
It would have been May 28th. Oh, you mean for the school board? Yeah.
I just have the minutes here. Where,
I don't know, ever remember
was
that.
approved in the
It should have been on the June,
Is there a red folder on my desk or on the left side?
on the left side.
Is it in the red folder?
Is it in your stack here? There's a red folder kind of underneath that says expenses 2024.
I'm not
Am
comfortable.
am I looking at the table or if I'm sitting at your, oh, on the file cabinet maybe?
If I don't know what to do.
There's no like, there's no actual letter. The only time a letter is presented to the board is there's actions that need to take place.
Yeah. It's just,
Huh?
but we should,
Sure.
Just, is there, was I?
At 6:38 p.m.
6:38.
No.
No,
You
it
ready?
is.
Put your ear to the microphone. So reconvening.
38.
Yeah.
And now we can. But I agree. Usually it's like a, we just get this.
I just want to quick say too that, that pushes back the funding. Cause that was due in June, so I don't know if they requested an extension, but that was due, and that was for the funding that you get for having native students.
Oh, okay.
Which is like.
Cause we had to approve the budget too.
76,000.
I don't remember the exact. Cause you get like a certain amount for native students.
Right.
Okay, let's go for it. Let's get it.
So we're not tabling it, we're gonna approve it then?
I don't know, that's right.
If we table this and we wait until next month, is that gonna delay funding?
You
could also pull up a special meeting just.
So the third
Stuff got put on hold. And
Isn't
I don't know how far behind.
our other
we are
meeting,
about- So it really hurt us when.
that's on July 23rd.
So I don't know if this is.
Cause I know that there's another budget that's due in August too,
Is the regular board meeting gonna be July
like August
23rd?
2nd or.
Yeah, so if we change the date now, yeah. It's going to be on the Wednesday, third Wednesday, and as we voted on it today, that was our business.
So it's the third Wednesday would be the.
So 1, 2, 3, I have my birthday. Yeah, yeah, yep, that's gonna be the day. I expect a cake.
Oh,
I will be.
BTS cake.
I will be here.
You like, what day is that?
Is that Korean pop? A band?
No, like,
Oh.
it's not like stuff like sneakers and.
Better than some steak.
Yes, okay. I want to say, I'm like.
I mean. I'll be 35, 35.
35? And you're 5?
35. I'm 36.
Now I feel like a toddler.
Sign.
Yeah, the sign.
No, the unside.
Over. She did find it?
Must sign.
What I found was a copy of the unsigned one. I did not find the signed one, but is that the letter right there?
Yeah.
But can you verify then that, when you go back in the session, that they did vote for contempt? I think it's in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, I think, Dan was doing for that one.
Yeah, he said he'd do it under Sylvia's gift under her door, and I'm trying to find the can possible on the copy.
It's not signed, but that's what was voted on.
Okay.
But they do have a signed copy. Okay. Both of them are signed, that one and.
And so this one is,
Well, this one's not signed yet because we had to have the shared person before.
great.
The person did that. Okay. Yeah. I think we reconvened.
You can,
Yeah, there it is.
it's 38.
Yeah, at 38.
So we were having a discussion and I voiced that, I wasn't. I wasn't, comfortable with signing something and approving something that I didn't see. So, and then Bianca, in the motion, I mean.
No, I just had,
Mentioned that it was due in June, or so is there an extension to that?
Well, we are already behind, and the next meeting now won't be until the third.
June 6th, July 16th.
So, if you're not comfortable looking at that, that is the letter of concurrence, and then we will check concur.
Okay,
So. Bianca is on that committee, if you can testify, if it concurs, that if you're not comfortable, you can always table it, and.
so-
I was just explaining that like the only additional letter, that would be submitted would be action items needing to get into compliance, but since we already, that we were in compliance. We didn't find that.
okay. So in regards to it being, affecting the school funding. And just by going off what I just read here, I think I'm gonna just go ahead and sign it. So.
Yeah, it's $86,000. It's worth. It's $40,000 for if it was more than $500.
So do I sign this one or this
think we have
one?
to vote on it first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, okay.
Because we were
That was
deciding
we're
if we were
just doing
tabling or
the
not first.
discussion.
There,
Yeah.
tonight, there.
Okay. So on the APEC letter of concurrence, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? So motion passed for the approval of the APEC letter of concurrence.
Thank you, but we'll get you the original, and I'm signing it, you need to be able to get them out to the.
Okay. So item H, motion to reinstate Sylvia Fred as Endazhi-Nitaawiging Head of School effective July 1, 2025.
I'll motion.
I'll say thank you.
Any
Question.
discussion?
Now, um, is there a reason why this is on a special and not on a regular?
Yeah, and,
Is it because the decision was made super upsetting?
it was, right now, we thought we would say, native to executive director, his signature authority for the government signature authority as the Iowa candidate, but we don't have, it was a real sudden termination. And the termination letter had a couple of different causes, and I didn't want to go into that, but it was very sudden and there was no plan for continued leadership. I think there was an assumption that I would, with my credentials, that I would lead, but I don't have signature authority in me. There was no plan for leadership. I put it on this one because we need to have leadership that goes for all of those things, because we're starting a new fiscal year, we need signature authority, we need the head of school to get all of our business stuff done. If we don't reinstate, we're going to have to undo all of the things that Minnesota Department of Ed, all of our Iowa, all of our finance, all of our, but there was just no plan. The termination of Sylvia Fred was sudden. It was unknown to anybody. We had asked for the agenda way ahead. Even our authorizer had said to the board chair, you need to get legal opinion on this. And so they sent everything over to our legal department to go forward to review everything in that packet. They did not submit the agenda, which had termination on there. And had they done that, we would have advised that it was an illegal meeting the way they did it. Two, because the person has due process. And she should have been notified in advance that, she was up for termination. Or that she had, her evaluation was on the agenda, and that, she would have had advance notice, and she would have had the option to say whether she wanted that evaluation in open meeting or closed meeting. She got the notification of evaluation by our attorney. She did not indicate if she wanted it open and closed, so it automatically, we just had the open meeting, it automatically should have been closed unless she requested it open. And they did the evaluation in open, which was the other part of that is that the evaluation, there's 5 board members, only 2 did the evaluation, so there wasn't even a majority of the evaluation. So the evaluation won't stand. Right? And so there's a number of things like that, and nobody was aware until they got to the meeting that termination was on the agenda. So there was no due process, there was no notification.
What was the reason for that?
So one was the evaluation, which only had 2 people on it, which didn't even have a majority vote. So it had 2 people on it. So without the majority vote to approve that evaluation, it's really not, it's just like 2 people's opinion. Right? And the other part of it was the,
One member was gone too that day.
yeah, also we had a missing board member, but they did have one. And the other part that they referenced in the termination letter was the letter of concern that we had received from our authorizer. The letter of concern from our authorizer, and we've met with them many times, was simply that there's 5 steps to our process for renewing the charter school. Letter of concern is the 2nd step. First, we have a notice of concern, and notice of inadequacy of the letter of concern. And when you looked at the letter of concern, it was all because of missing data. We're missing meeting minutes, we're missing financial approval at some of the board meetings, there's just a bunch of missing data. NWA scores, MCA scores, there's just a number of missing data. And when you look at that, and I reported to the chairman, I said, I did a report to the council, and I said, I just received a copy of this letter of concern, which has, it seems to have a negative connotation. I haven't had a chance to do a deep dive, but I did inform the council that we had received it. So when I came back to the office, I started looking at it, and I got it authorized on the phone, and I said, tell me, all right, does this mean that we are in danger of being nominated? And they said, absolutely not. This is just one big step to the process. This is giving the notification that we are missing data. And some of it was untimely, where we should have had it in June and it didn't get anything. So we have another thing that's called the area report that has a list of all the missing documents. So anyway, so they base in the letter determination, they said that this report shows that the head of school is not doing their job. But when you look at all of the missing pieces, it was from multiple places. And so when we talk to the authorizer, it's just a matter, it's the preliminary to the annual. The annual report is not due until October. This report is a preliminary saying, oh, hey, you guys better get this stuff in. This is a notice of concern before you get to your annual report. So our annual report is in June. And some of that missing data is our MCA scores, and you don't even get them until the meeting. So some of that's been pretty be funded. But that's what they base determination an evaluation that really was not a valid evaluation, and then a report, they're saying that she's doing for that, but it really wasn't that. We are not in danger. And I reported that to the chairman, and I believe that we are not in danger beyond the legal. And we talked to authorizer, we know all that, we just have to get this data in there. But the missing pieces, like board meeting minutes, board CEUs are missing. Board training records are missing, those kinds of things. A lot of it had to do with even the board not submitting information. So there's a lot of mistakes. Is it, but, so that, is that a full reflection on the middle school? That was the feeling. So that's what they based it on, but my recommendation, Nate and I asked to have on the agenda so that we can reinstate our head of school so that we can get back to business. And if you really want to know if she's doing, how she's doing as a head of school, maybe you give her 6 months and you do your own evaluation in 6 months. We do something like that. If you really think that there are concerns or the way things were done previously, and although some of those things were done illegally, they're not illegally done in the meetings. So it really does a whole.
The report and the evaluation, they were done by these two. Yes. Hopefully we receive a copy of those.
Sure.
Sure. And then when did the termination occur?
It occurred, she was terminated on.
No, it was the 17th and it was, yeah,
We're in
effective.
till 20th.
And that was her first ever evaluation, like not even really given a chance to like, here's what you need to work on. I don't know where I
Yeah, and the
I sent
agenda,
my
it's,
address in, so like where I was going to be at this meeting, and then somehow.
Well, and to be honest, nobody saw the agenda until you got to the meeting. You were absent from the meeting, and I still don't have a copy of that agenda. Maybe you can tell me, is termination on it or just evaluation?
just evaluations on there, and she changed the wording from evaluation to termination mid-discussion.
Which you could.
Yeah, so I literally, I think in the recording, I had to clarify, are we discussing termination? Like, I clearly questioned it. I was like, wait, this doesn't say termination. Yeah, I think I have it.
But, if you're basing a determination on an evaluation that's not valued, it doesn't have to relate to it. Go to the board, it's not a valid evaluation.
So it didn't have the majority of
It
vote.
did not have two people. The majority would have been three.
The evaluation
Itself, with the votes. The vote they did have. What people are saying, that few of them voted to terminate. It was supposed to be the evaluation. And the only 2 people completed the evaluation. So there was not a majority to approve the evaluation.
Yeah. Number 3 in old business. It was in old business. It wasn't even in new business. It was labeled as an old business on here in the evaluation.
And nobody saw the agenda. Even when our authorizers told the board to show it to our legal, she did not show it to our legal. The legal would have told her it has to go in closed, but she did it in open. I mean, there's just so many. But I would let the board know that I have talked to our legal, I have talked to.
Yeah, I think.
I have talked to Jim and we have letters of support from our staff that recommend reinstatement, recommend it, and also the chairman and I will vote.
That's how
support
it's
the reinstatement.
That was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 17th.
And the other part of it is that the head of school, Sylvia, did not receive her notice because we couldn't hear it on there. We couldn't hear it. And so then we didn't even know termination was on it. And then, because we couldn't hear that business on the recording, and we, of course, we went and received the agenda. And then our legal didn't look at the agenda and none of that. And so, no business was taken care of. I've been notified Thursday evening of the board chair, and I said, we need to have a letter stating this. She needs a formal notice that she's continuing to leave the school, need to be notified by you, the board chair, so that we can even take action unless we get formal notification. We couldn't hear it on there. We didn't see any minutes. I'm still waiting for minutes. All of that, and so nothing could get done. And so then, late that night, in the middle of the night, we got a copy of the termination letter.
And, she was presented these email to Sylvia on her last day of visit. She was telling me about it. So it was a real late notice. We had heard that that had happened, but we had no problem. Of that day. So my request is I put it on here because I'm letting this new board know that we need leadership. There was no plan when they went from evaluation to termination. There was no plan. There was no who's in charge. There's none of that. We were just waiting for the new board to give us direction. So Amy and I asked me if she could be reinstated. We do have support of the chairman and our legal and our staff. So whatever you want to do, even if you want to have it in place for a while so you can get stuff done and ready for the new school year and then, do your own evaluation.
And it was just those two items. It was just the evaluation and this report that came.
Yes.
I'd like to see the evaluation in the report. Do you want that?
I have an email, I think, for it.
Because I just don't wanna like come in 14 days later.
They gave her the lowest scores they could get her on
and
everything.
make a decision that.
They gave her one on everything.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, especially it being her first one, like, I personally like the decision of giving her a period of time for us as a new board where, you know, we're head of school, executive director, artists, like, we call it, like in our government, the judicial system where they create these things, right, and then we look at it and we pass it, right? But if we're a strong board that like sets a standard for the head of school and the executive director, and we're working together side by side to make this school a better place, like, the different kind of motivations that happen when we're all in it together, right? You know, if we think about us as a board and how we're gonna continue on, we think about the mission and the vision right away, which is why we read that every day. You know,
It's just
preparing the students, right? But it's like, how can we, and like the vision, how can we create confident leaders
Economics.
grounded in their true inherent identities without also allowing someone else to do that? You know what I mean? I personally didn't want to be involved with that last board, but it's like I had to see it out because I was appointed there as a teacher and it's really hard to work with those specific individuals. We pushed through and we're here now, and I think this new board, I feel like giving someone really to prove, you know, it's like maybe we set her standard a little bit, you know, and the way that we work together with.
The report that she was trying to wait for.
I had the copy.
I was gonna say, I did not get a copy of her terminations.
No, not the letter.
Yeah, the report, I didn't get.
She has the evaluation. You want to see it?
Oh, yeah, let me just pull it.
Everything one.
All ones, you know, me.
Because it was like
and-
so often stuff would just be
Yeah.
I don't want to mix.
Yeah,
up
emailed
everything.
really late. They would arrive
Yeah.
to the meetings really late, the meetings would get started late, no one would look through the agenda packets. No, no, it was like that kind of standard for the board. It just seemed to be everywhere. You know what I mean? We're here, we mean business and we're doing our stuff and we're on our point. And it filters out everywhere else, you know, but then they feel it, the admin in school feels it, and then the admin in school feels it, and all the staff feel it, right? And then the more kind of secure, the teachers feel, the parents feel, that it all begins.
Well, we have a board of five, right? We need to give the rebounds, which I don't think constitute determinations.
That's why I'm asking for
Just based on two evaluations. I mean, if you have a form five, you know, even 4 out of 5 would then, but five's enough.
And then like,
Well, I'd like to see the report or whatever, but at the same time, if they just had a meeting 2 weeks ago and there were 4 in attendance, that's a quorum. And then 3 people voted to terminate, and so then 2 weeks later, we come in and reinstate without any knowledge of the issues of why she was terminated, just like, I'm not.
Great. Yes.
So here is, the summary page of the report. And what you'll see in the summary is these places that are authorized with this everything. And you'll see that we have missing data. The data they did have was on their attendance and we got points for that, but the rest was missing data. our science proficiency, but those are MCA scores. And then here's the number of reports that you can get and our reading and all of that. So here's the report that is the summary. And then at the bottom, you'll see in the summary, it says that it's a notice of concern and could be a candidate for nominee. So I'm not panicked and I called the authorizer that when I said, please, does this mean we are in line to nominate? So that's what this is a preliminary to your annual, which is due in October. So we'll take all of these missing pieces, fill them in, and we'll get, submit them and put them for them.
So where's the ones for the other two?
The annual report, there's an annual report. I don't have a copy of that, so that would be with you.
Or I'm just trying to see if they progress, you know, like, it's an annual. Ones from previous years.
Well, first year had little to no data, right?
Yeah. It was pretty much a given. Here's what I would do. About the school. The progress that we are making is not just in the physical data in this report. The progress that we're making in developing a language children for kids and providing a loving and nurturing place for kids to be, those things aren't measured in there, but we do really, really well on those things. And then when the kids come to school and they learn that this is their school and they can belong here, things naturally happen. Their attendance increases, their scores increase. We're purchasing new curriculum to address those things, those MCA scores, things like that. As a matter of fact, last year MCA scores just looked better than the public school. I don't know where we're at yet.
In which sport?
I don't know, language, numbers, math, and reading.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They're really secretive with what they call it test.
Because remember, we got copies of that at,
Yeah.
for the other APAC, and it was there to get done.
Oh, it was that we were way lower, percentage wise, it's number of kids.
Yeah, but we argued at that point that there's another thing that wants all to the base.
So anyway, we will, it's one of our goals is to continue to use that. And you'll see if that there's no points for it's because we. I think when you start a new charter school, you don't know what you're looking at. And then these kinds of things are meant, they're like audits and meant to show you all the areas and you just find what you're doing and what you want. What.
Several other charter schools. Really hard for 5 years to start a school. We have established, but we have like great connections with the best charter schools.
And this coming year will be our fourth active year, right?
But on this report.
Third in this building.
I would like the board to know on this report that we are working closely with our authorizer. We've had monthly meet with our authorizer, our representative every other week. Just to do updates where we're at, what we're working on. Two of the mission outcomes that we have with that authorizer for this year are we need to show the data on our increase in auxiliary language, and then also in our creating wellness for students, emotional, physical, mental, mental, anyway, all full child wellness. So we're working on those. So I put stuff together. I'm working on the data for that, and we're working with the advisor. So we will be meeting those two goals for this year. And then our areas report, we started uploading all of some of this missing pieces right now. I have requested multiple times from the previous board minutes, but in the last few meetings, no action was done. No meetings, no minutes were approved. So we're missing a lot of meeting minutes, and also requested multiple funds for copies of their training record that has to be in. I still don't have that in public works. I mean, it's just missing pieces all over the place. But that's what we're working on.
And, the policies and procedures for the school when the staff comes in is being needed, what is that?
So
What is it?
in our bylaws, you have the right to terminate. We are all at will employees. You have the right to terminate. But in this case, what they did is they used the evaluation as a tool or a reason, and also the support for the termination. So that's appealable because the way in which it was done was not okay. And it's why we're asking for reinstatement. And then this board can take the time it needs to watch as we go through things and then do your own evaluation.
So let's say this, say there is a vote, no, what could happen to the school potentially? Could there be like a lawsuit between that person and the board? Moving on to the board.
We are at that. And your bylaws cover that you do it to terminate, you have the right to let positions go or to demote people or to, because well, you can normally don't even state a reason. And in this case, they stated the two reasons. I also contacted the board chair and I said, although I'm in total disagreement of this decision, I am going to recommend that in your letter of termination, that less is better. Because when you state these reasons like that, then we recognize that they were not, the evaluation was not a reason because it was not work. You know what I mean? It didn't have the board majority vote on that. So, and I advised the board chair, I said, do you really want to state that? Because if you're saying that's the reason, it can't hold water because it was not a legal or majority approved, board approved evaluation. So only 2 people out of the 5 did it. And so it's really not worth, it's not the grounds for termination. There's not enough for the grounds for termination. And then the other part of it was this report. And we know, talking to our authorizer, that this was the preliminary to our annual, and it just shows us, like in the audit, if you have a finding, it just shows you what you need to improve. So it really is an improvement letter and not a ban, if that makes sense. But those are the things that we're using to the termination letter. And I asked the board chair, do you really want to state these? Because neither one of these are reasons for termination. If you're going to give a reason, then we can absolutely do those things. And so what happened though is that they took an evaluation, they changed the wording that they made a determination, not an evaluation. So there's no notification, there is no anything, and the reasons given were not valid. So for those reasons, we are requesting reinstatement. With support from our legal, with support of our chairman, with support of many of our staff. And I think that this board can decide we are without leadership. There is no who's in charge. I can do all the legal matters. I can look at compliance, and my job is to do all of those things. I don't have any signature. You know, we have some signature authority, but not. So we have no plan for leadership. We're asking for the reinstatement of our head of school so that we can continue to conduct business. My recommendation is that if you really want to see how she does, I can maybe reinstate her, put her on an improvement plan, you know, set some goals for her. I'll give her a timeline, but give us an opportunity to get business done because we're not able to get business.
And then the board members that voted for her to be terminated, their term was 3 years. So they've witnessed progress of it.
Do want to point out too, it was also their very last week. Like, they knew it was their last week, so.
I think I have all the information that I need and if anyone else has any questions. I'm not worried.
So if you go to, I would just remind that if you go to vote, it takes a majority to reinstate. It would take 3 out of the 5 to reinstate, and if you have a no, then you have to do a roll call vote instead of all those in favor, roll call vote, so we can move forward. And we know to me.
Then maybe we should do a roll call vote for this one.
That's what we get, yeah, so when you go to vote.
So the motion to reinstate Sylvia Freitas and Endazhi-Nitaawiging head of school effective July 1st, 2025. We'll have a roll call.
Can we still change that to like 6 month probation? Can we add that onto this? Vote on that.
I think if we could just get it reinstated and then the board you can add with conditions. Reinstate her for a 6-month period with, evaluation.
Yeah, because when we initially did the evaluation, I requested the entire staff be able to have input, and that was disregarded completely by the board chair, and that wasn't input. So I think the entire staff should be able to input. Not that that vote matters, because it's only up to us, right, to evaluate her. Like that's one of our only things, you know. And it just hearing how she worked from other staff members would be super important to be able to contribute to the table.
It would have been nice to have like those letters, like, I think you were talking about letters from staff.
Yeah,
Support from the chairman, support from leader.
yeah.
Like, so, I mean, there's not a lot for me to go on, and again,
We can do that for the next. meeting.
yeah, my biggest thing is like if a decision was made by people who were aware of what was happening within the school over the last 3 years, just 2 weeks ago, I don't feel comfortable on my very first meeting like that. And that's no, sure, like, issue for,
I-
It's no judgment call at all.
Yeah, I just honestly, but I really don't like reliving, you know.
Yeah, I
A
thought
lot
we
of
were gonna do a
personal-
letter from.
There's been a lot of very
Okay.
personal attacks and personal feelings and a lot of personal things that we thought we thought we were all genuinely friends, and I still have respect for these people, you know. And I made that in my heart that I'm not gonna carry anything, anybody, and that's my life's purpose. But when things get personal, they get personal, and those kind of be fast. And I just, I don't want to get into that. But I'm very grateful for you guys' concern and listening. And we can, for this next meeting, we'll drop something really nice about kind of the supporters that we do have and the reasons that we're gonna move in this direction.
So for the evaluation too, let's say that we want to reinstate her for a period of time, and you can decide on a whole new evaluation project. They had the previous board elected to do the state model of school leadership evaluation. And you can change it, you can do whatever you want to do with school evaluation. And we can change the motion. The question is, can do that? And we can say, we will state Sylvia Fair as head of school for the next 6 months. Pending evaluation with her.
and then somebody would second it, and then we would go on to another discussion.
So what you really need is you need a motion to amend the motion.
Okay. So for business 8, motion to reinstate Sylvia Freitas as Endazhi-Nitaawiging head of school effective July 1, we need to amend as follows with conditions in regards to a reevaluation.
Conditionally for 6 months pending new evaluation.
So pending. Yeah.
After 6 months or with.
Yeah, after 6 months. Well, would your evaluation before the 6 months is? So give me the verbiage, help me.
So,
Whose motion is that?
so Leslie,
So how would you want it to, no, well, she's amending it.
right,
So how would you like that to
The
be?
reinstatement. There's no, I like the idea of sexing. Um. Amend to a 6-month probationary period pending a reevaluation.
And so then it would be, continued employment and then evaluation. Is that right? Or you can just, you can.
So amending-
You can just say for 6 months and then we'll just redo all of it in the board.
See, I do like the way Chelsea worded it, though, the 6-month probationary period, okay. Pending reevaluation.
I think if you just go effective July 1st, conditionally for 6 months, or a 6-month probation. That's it.
And does that mean that we just be using the evaluation?
We
we
could,
can-
or we can make
can
our own.
our own.
If we don't like the system,
Where did this come from?
That comes from our authorizer.
well, that one's the authorizer. The one that I showed on my phone was the board. So we
Does
can,
the authorizer
This
have
is our,
any additional? This is the very first one.
that's the first one, and that's the one we're working on for.
So those are the preliminary errors that need to be corrected.
This is contract period July 1st, 2021. To June 30th, 2027. So this is over several years.
Yes. Every year we do the annual report. This is a preliminary to this year's annual report. This just shows us the missing pieces and the areas of improvement. Areas of distinct.
Yeah.
And, so just for reporting, I rescind motion to reinstate Sylvia Perez and Endazhi-Nitaawiging head of school effective July 1st, conditionally for 6-month probationary period. Yeah, okay. And as we go on to regular, we'll bring up, we can add to the agenda, about the new. You can either use the same evaluation tool or develop a new one, whatever, but we're not gonna do it the next, or even a couple months later.
So in prior to doing that, can we get like the previous report so we could see the progression of, yes, from very
I
start?
thought you
where
didn't
we're
have.
at?
We can do it. Our authorizers have on. I don't know.
Oh, but actually just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have it? I said, I don't have, but our authorizers.
Okay, at the next, can we get those?
Yes, yeah,
That's what I was.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
we does not imply the author.
So we want to know our annual reports and comparative, yeah, so we can have those. That's regular, so.
You put on there too.
I don't think we need to put that in the amendment, but just to bring
You
the.
can just provide that
Yeah.
with for the board. So all in favor of the amendment of reinstatement of Sylvia Fred as of head of school effective July 1 with an amendment for 6-month period regarding
I have conditionally for 6 months.
okay,
For a
conditionally for
6-month
6-month probationary period. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And then if you get a name, would you say name? Yeah, so then you gotta go say we vote.
Individual vote.
So do a roll call on the reinstatement of Sylvia Fred as Endazhi-Nitaawiging head of school effective July 1 amendment conditionally within a 6-month period pending evaluation.
or a
6 months.
conditionally for a 6-month probation members.
Pending reevaluation. No.
Well,
Just
well,
probation.
just probation.
All right.
So Chelsea,
Yes.
Nicomas,
Yes.
Bianca?
No.
Leslie?
Yep.
Victoria?
You say yes.
So the majority vote of yes and 4 yeses and 1 nay. Action is passed. The reinstatement of Sylvia Fed as of July 1, but amending the conditions within a 6-month period.
For those 6 months.
Newsletter,
Thank you. I can't even tell you what it really says to start getting some business back. Newsletter, thank you very much.
So 8th adjournment, the motion to adjourn the meeting at
7:23.
7:20.
Motion.
Two motion, Leslie?
Bianca.
Oh, Bianca, my bad.
The 5th.
Second.
Jordan.
Any discussion, anything else we need to discuss or bring up?
Board, there is something that we could keep out in the treasure. We have a meeting coming up with the treasure right away. We're just gonna talk about this building and how we have another entity, nonprofit tech entity
Okay.
that we took out a $3 million.
No, we can't have.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, well, but
We'll have my.
we'll keep it on your radar that we have to meet treasure and they can explain in great detail. I'll probably mess it up if I try,
Okay,
but it's really complex.
I
so
got it down, I got it.
And
all in favor to adjourn at 7:23 PM?
Aye.
Motion passed to adjourn at 7:23 PM.
Oh, new great. Thank
Get a
you very
picture.
much. Yeah, buddy, on your board, well, on the website.
Come on. Here's what's up.
Not in there. Thank you very much.
You need the.
Yeah, I'll take those, I'll take your little oath of office thing and.
Yeah, mine's a-
You know, leave it, thank you very much. Otherwise, the packets are yours. And then if you can remember, if you brought your training certificate, I can make a copy for us right now.
Oh,
If
No,
not,
I didn't.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't bring it, but it's here.
Okay.
I brought it.
I'll make a copy for our records. That's part of our missing ballot.
yeah, I need it too. I didn't get anything.
Okay, and is there a place like to just print out your CEU? I'm afraid of it. Okay, all right. Oh, I know, and then Jen, you know, if you.
I think Chelsea was gonna take it. For her. She's going to the beach.
Some of it, I'm not the whole thing. I'm gonna feed everyone at that off. Endazhi, and I'm trying to feed everyone here. So I was thinking, are we up on the,
Yeah, I think you are over 100, then you only have one. Okay. I will double check.
What is the capacity?
Oh, I'm gonna go, I think it was like 130.
I was thinking, because it gives me that Java. That's a lot.